I started playing the violin like right after high school, and because we had one laying around the house, my dad played a little bit, and it started, sometimes it'll just take you. It's such a weird, mysterious instrument, and I just totally got into it. And then I thought, I've always done stuff with my hands. I used to work on cars. I used to do paint cars and do kinds of things like that. And so I could work with my hands. And I thought, well, maybe I could do that. I made my first violin in 1978. So I've been doing it a pretty long time, 45 years almost or something like that. Just never really stopped learning, to be honest with you. The great violins were made by makers like Antonio Stradivari and Giuseppe Guarneri, and these are makers that were in northern Italy in the late 1600s, early 1700s. They basically perfected the shape of the instrument. There's some principles, there's some like physical principles too. Like there's flexibility, like all the pieces need to be flexible, but they need to be strong too so that they don't fall apart. So you have to kind of hit this kind of intersection of strength and flexibility. If you hit that target close to the center, you're going to get a great violin. To make a violin for me takes 300 to 400 hours. Everything kind of starts with a pattern like this. This is basically the inside shape of a violin, and you can kind of see it just fits in there like this is the pattern. This is how it starts. We basically start with a piece of wood, like a full piece of wood like this. This is two pieces of wood joined together in the middle, and so it's been cut out of that piece of wood like that. As you can see, a gouge like this puts really deep flutes in it. So then we have, after we get going, we have this little thing called a finger plane, and the finger plane smooths out the grooves. It'll end up looking kind of like this. So this is a plate after we've done this to it, the finger plane. The next comes the scraper. So the scraper will take the flutes from the finger plane out and smooth it down. So after we're done with that, we turn over and we use the chisel on the inside of it, and then it becomes like that. And this is kind of a semi-finished. But now you can really hear it. Listen to that. It's already just getting really loud. So that's kind of how we make the top and the back. The sides are another story. The sides are actually thin pieces of wood that are bent on a hot iron. So this is a thin piece of wood that was flat, and then we dip it in water and we pull it on a hot iron and we bend it. And as you can see, it's this shape right in here. So this is the back and sides, and then this is kind of how the box will be made. So then this will be the top here. So this is all just roughed out, but you can kind of see this starting to take shape as the violin. And we move on to the neck, and the neck is like, you take a block of wood and you trace out the rough pattern of the neck and saw that out. And here's a finished scroll. So you can kind of see how that's narrowed down. This is the peg box that's hollowed out, and then of course the scroll is carved. We carve that we do that all by hand, and then that'll be set into the body of the box, and then we're getting pretty close to having it done. I do feel a connection to the makers of old. I'm doing it kind of the way that they did it. I have electric lights, and I have other, I have heat and things that they didn't have, so much of. Of course, they had wood heat or whatever. It's kind of, a lot of it's the same. It's the same kind of, when you chisel the wood, it's the same sound. It's the same. There's a lot of the same stuff. One has to remember, tone is subjective. So what I hear and what I like is not necessarily what the next person, let's say, had the same skill level that I had, may like something totally different. So it's like if you're a painter and someone comes in and goes, I like your artwork, I want to buy your painting. It's more like that. It's like I like what I see when you make a violin. I like what you're doing there, and I want to have a violin from you.
Do you hear that? It's it's so pretty, like the echo of it.
I always say the technology I work on peaked in 1705. They're not set for improvement. They're not like other technological things like phones or cars that actually improve with technology. Violins don't improve with technology so much. They just, because they're already great. But it is kind of a tool, it's an extension of you. The violin sounds like a human voice. That's why it's so compelling.